Hey folks, welcome to the Smack Draw Podcast, your home for all your WWE recaps, reviews, and pay-per-view predictions. Joining us tonight, it's myself, Kyle, of course, and the AJ Styles of podcast, and Sebastian. What's going on, Sebastian?
Hey, everybody.
There we go. Thought I lost you for a second there.
No,
We are
I
back.
was going to say just woke up, but it did not happen.
Yeah, thought I lost you. Yeah, we almost had a repeat how we lost Rob last night. But oh boy, yeah, man, we are a wrestling podcast that we like to go ahead and just talk WWE wrestling. Of course, this is until AEW rolls around, in which case we're going to take them under the banner as well. Can't wait for that. Tonight's show's covering this week's 205 Live and NXT. Man, what awesome shows we got, dude. They deliver in the wrestling department. Boy, they are a shot of adrenaline, man, to the system, or a shock to the system. But yeah, we've taken a couple weeks off, man. We had a kind of like some scheduling conflicts and some other stuff, so we haven't been able to record as of late. But tonight we are back on track covering 205 Live and NXT. You can find us on most podcast platforms, I would say. We're on Podbean, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, iTunes. We are on YouTube, of course. We are humbly asking that you go over to our YouTube channel, hit like and subscribe. Help us get to that 100 subscriber mark so we can get our custom URL. You guys, if you've been long-term listeners, me and Sebastian talked it over last night. We do have a couple ideas rolling around for the YouTube content, that extra little bonus content that isn't going to be podcast-centric. Kind of nervous, but hey, you got to start somewhere. You know what I mean? You got to start somewhere. And I'm thinking the easiest thing. What do people, Sebastian, I'm going to ask you, what do people like on YouTube when it comes to, what's the type of show they like?
Short-term
Top
stuff,
10 lists. Of course, top 10 lists. I'm sorry, man. I set you up there.
That is a short term.
Yeah, short form content.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that was mean, man. I set you up
No,
on
you're
that one. Oh no. Yeah, man, more short form content. Top 10. Might shoot individual videos where it's just one of us going over stuff, but we're definitely on the ball now. The brainstorming has begun, and hopefully as soon, not guaranteed by, but as soon as next weekend, we might start shooting our YouTube exclusive content. So we'll get back to you on that one, though. We'll get back to you when that stuff comes around. But if you want to chat wrestling with us, just like we like chatting it with each other, feel free to hit us up on Twitter at SmackDrawPod, which Sebastian has taken the boatload lately of. Of course, you can reach out to us individually, myself at The Kai Tai Show, Mr. Rob Rude at 2 Words Can't See Me, and Sebastian, of course, at WrestlingFan_32. And then I think lastly, it's official, folks. It's official. Have you been considering being on a podcast, helping run a podcast? This might be a chance for you. If you are interested in joining the Smacked Raw crew, we are looking to bring on, we think 2 new additions, maybe 3. Looking for personalities, hosts, and producers. So one of the things that we're looking for is people that can minor editing skills and the ability to upload content. Because, boy, I'm doing all the producing, and gosh dang it, man, it feels like a full-time job. I could definitely use some help, man. I could use some help, Sebastian. But if that interests you, man, if you're interested in joining the Smack Raw crew, feel free to DM us at our official page, the at SmackDrawPod Twitter page, for details and see if it works out, man. Absolutely. Exciting times, right, Sebastian? Channel growing.
Yeah.
Channel growing, man. Yeah, man. Bring people on. More people to talk wrestling with. Boy, I could only imagine, though, if we got another Rob Roode on the show, though. Another Lacey Evan, Baron Corbin loving, short
I don't know
joke
if I can
telling.
do Monday Night Raw.
What's that?
I'd have to let Rob just handle Raw.
Yeah, man, Rob and that person, whoever that is, man. Y'all have Rob. Oh my God, it's hard. It's hard enough. I love Rob, man. This comes from a place of love, folks. This comes from a place of love. We love Rob, and he adds so much to the show. He does, man. I wish he'd listen to our podcast once in a while. I do, though. But I'm kind of the same way, man. Have you gone back and listened to any of our episodes?
Here and there, but not like every one of them or anything like that.
No. I think I got drunk and listened to one. Like I think I got drunk and I wanted to hear if our intro was, I think there was something, like I did the intro well. I think it was the first really smooth intro. And then I think I was like 5 minutes into listening to it and I just fell asleep listening to my own podcast. It's a weird thing, dude. It is weird.
I don't like to sound of my own voice, so I try not to hear it.
Yeah. It's
like it, even videos like growing up as a kid, I didn't even like listening or watching the family videos or anything because I just hate the sound of my voice.
It's embarrassing, man, because you have this self-perception of yourself, I think. And then when you get to experience yourself from a different angle than other than your own two eyes, it's different. You know what I mean? And I think that's why it's easy to be embarrassed because your self-perception is obviously more than likely comes across differently. It's off. But anyways, enough of this stuff. Let's go ahead and talk this week's NXT and 205 Live, man. What a good episode. Like 2 episodes, especially this week's NXT. Oh my goodness, man. Did those boys deliver like they always do? What stood out to me was the main event of 205 Live and then the opening match on NXT between Keith Lee and Dominic Dijakovic. Boy,
that wasn't the opening match.
You know what? I apologize. I actually missed the opening match of NXT. I forgot. I was trying to close my work down, so I came into NXT like 5 or 10 minutes late. So I caught the ass end of the opening match, which was Io Shirai and Cammy Fields. I did miss that. But
standard squash.
Yeah, I've kind of figured so when I realized I was only about like 5 minutes into the episode and it was already over. But man, let's talk 205 Live. We got a new #1 contender for the Cruiserweight Championship. I really wish that episode we shot on the weekend was up by now because your boy accurately predicted it. Like, I called that at a left field, man. I called it. And, it feels good to be right. It does. But, the show opened with a recap of last week's Captain's Challenge match. I unfortunately missed that match. But we cut to Drake Maverick. He was congratulating Oni Lorcan and Humberto Carrillo for surviving the match. Oni wants another shot at the champ, Mr. Drew Gulak. But both him and Humberto both have wins over the champion now. So Carrillo, not trying to step on anyone's toes, he says, hey, let's just do a 3-way. But Drake Maverick insists on booking a #1 contenders match for later in the evening, and that set up our main event. The show opened with Arya Daivari and a match with him and Kalisto. What's your take on these two guys, man?
I like them both. I used to not be a big Daivari fan, but here in the last 2 months or so, he's kind of winning me over.
He's really come into his character, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's done a great job with his character, and I think his in-ring work has gotten better and better as time's went on.
Yeah, and then Kalisto, Kalisto always feels like I really feel like Kalisto has lived in Rey Mysterio's shadow, like, because he always feels like he's fit that mold. But the thing is Rey Mysterio never went away, and Kalisto never blew up necessarily. He's had his moments here and there, but unfortunately, Kalisto's never had that like breakthrough moment like Rey had. He does have a win over Braun Strowman though, in that dumpster match. He does have a win over Braun Strowman. Probably the highlight of Kalisto's career. Oh my goodness.
Why'd you bring that back up in my memory?
I don't. Oh my god.
It's best forgotten.
I know, man. I know. But a win is a win, my friend.
Belongs in the dump.
But yeah, man. The match was good, man. Arya Daivari ended up winning with, if I remember correctly, it's called the Pepsi Twist. Is how he won the match. Afterwards, though, Daivari starts putting the boots to Kalisto, but of course, Kalisto luckily runs with a crew, and the rest of the Lucha House Party comes in for the save. So that's good. The
kind of teasing Lindsay, Daivari getting in his head about trying to break up Lucha House Party too.
Yeah, that would be interesting. See them break up. You know, because you feel like they're only a faction because they're all three like luchadors. WWE has that stigma where if you fit a stereotype, you have to be paired up. Like, what's the point of Asuka and Kairi Sane being a tag team? You know, like, what in their history made them into a tag team? You know, and it was, but they're both female Japanese wrestlers on the main roster, so obviously they have to be a tag team. You know, the luchadors, they have to be a trio, and it kind of goes on, but it's kind of borderline. Like, there's not much else to it, I think. There was never like these guys all have history together or anything like that. It was just, here's three luchadors all packaged in together. You know, they come out to the ring with like party sound makers and like little pinatas, which is
I don't have a problem.
borderline racist, man.
Yeah, they do have that stigma. If you look at, I hate to say it, you know, most of the time if you're African American in a tag team, they're going to find another African American and all that.
Yeah.
They do have that stigma. I don't mind the Lucha House Party, and just because it's a 1 hour show, and there's not a lot of time to have three luchadors spread out.
Right.
So
they all get TV time because they're together.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you get that luchador still. Yeah, I mean, I get it.
And it's good for kids. I mean, no matter what we feel like, kids love Lucha House Party.
Oh,
so.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We then got the main event of the night, Slam Bang. Oh, my God, dude. Humberto Carrillo and Oni Lorcan. Dude, how about Carrillo's handspring to Lorcan giving him, like, a flying uppercut to, like, his back? Oh, God, it was nasty, dude. So bad.
That's a lot of innovative stuff in there. There was that. There was another handspring sequence where Humberto kind of picked Oni up and did an arm drag at the same time. The double stomp on the apron, kind of springboarding up the middle rope on the outside, is a variation of that I haven't seen before. There's a lot of innovative stuff.
These guys are just masters of their craft. And it's crazy because Carrillo is so young, man. Carrillo has got a lot of potential because that dude has got room to grow. Absolutely does have room to grow.
He is. How old is Humberto?
Oh, my God, dude. He's got to be like
Oh, what?
young 20s. No, go ahead and talk us through the match. I'll look it up. Go ahead.
I already got 23 years old.
Oh, you found it before?
Younger
Come on.
than me.
I needed a damn job, man. Come on now. I put my microphone down and everything.
I'm sorry. Yeah, he's about to turn 24 in
Oh
October.
my
So
gosh, man.
yeah,
Super young. Um,
but this match had a little of everything. It had striking. I mean, working with the uppercuts. You're never gonna have only match without the uppercuts. I
yeah.
mean, it was perfect blend. Striking, high flying. Umberto kind of brought a power game in with a power bomb here and there. It just had a little bit of everything. Their styles meshed pretty well together.
I know, man. He hits the, but it does come down to Carrillo hitting the corkscrew senton. I think a couple weeks ago I asked about his finisher because I thought it looked like someone else's finisher, and I realized it is different. But yeah, he hit the corkscrew senton to get the win. Later this week, you'll hear the show we taped prior to this, where we predicted all the Clash of Champion matches, and I'm happy to announce I correctly predicted this ahead of time with nothing to go by because I hadn't even seen 205 Live in probably the last 2 weeks. So it was literally I just picked a name out of the hat, and I can't believe I got it right. I'm super proud of that. Uh,
Yeah, looking back on it, I kind of like it. Drake said it had to be a one-on-one, and they had to have a number. 205 never really froze out. I mean, number one contender matches we've seen 5 ways, 6 ways. As far as the title matches go, we never really get too many multi-man matches.
no, they're always heads up.
Uh,
They're always like straight up one-on-one matches. Mostly because we did get what a triple threat match, and that's I think how Gulak got the title.
yeah, here and there we've got a couple, but
Yeah. But yeah, for the most part, they're straight up heads up matches on the pre show. Unfortunately, they can't break the main card, and we can't get 205 live matches, and that's what kind of sucks because it's like WWE pay per views are notoriously long, and it's like you have one of the best kept secrets in 205 live, and you have all the platforms in the world to promote it, yet you don't. Like WWE avoids promoting a show that has grown a following on the network. Dude, I remember like when 205 Live was failing to break the top 20 shows watched on the network. It was a live wrestling show on the WWE network, and it could barely break the top 20. And it has grown. Yeah, it's grown now to the one of the most watched shows. And yet,
that's what happens when you have Enzo on top of the card.
oh my god, I know, dude. Don't remind me. Those were dark times. Yeah,
That's
205 Live.
payback for the
They were
best.
off to such a shaky start, coming out of the Cruiserweight Classic. All the hype and excitement that brought to like a super watered down, no depth, like oh god, Vince influence show. I don't even know how to put it. It was bad. It was so bad. Vince was way
Like
off the mark. He was like, "No, cruiserweights don't need to use the action. We need the spectacle, the storylines. That's what's gonna draw people here." When no one's watching the
I,
cruiserweights for that at that point.
I just don't understand what, how he got the answer of it being Enzo. Like, I don't know. That was the most head scratching things I've seen. Trying to put Enzo to carry a show is one of the biggest ones. Like I don't even know where to begin. That
No, I don't know. Well, I remember Enzo was supposed to bring the star power because Enzo at the time hadn't fully flopped. He was in the process. He was definitely on the skid. He was, but and he did ultimately. Enzo did bring more eyes to the product, but at the time, Vince, because this was remember Vince handed over 205 Live to Triple H, and that's when 205 Live turned a corner. But the first year or so of 205 Live, like Vince was still kind of hands on with it, and he didn't care about the in ring action and and what drew people to the Cruiserweight Classic.
it don't. I mean, when it first was made, it was going to be Neville's show, and ultimately Neville said they wouldn't get enough for him, and the rest is history. But when Neville was there, the in-ring action wasn't bad. I mean, go
No.
back watch some of those matches with Rich Swann.
Him and Rich Swan, and then oh
TJ had good matches at the start.
yeah, TJ. No, I'm trying to think of who was the guy that came over from TNA or Impact. Oh, why can't I think of his name right now? He's got controversy just surrounding him too. Um,
Sure not thinking of Enzo.
no, not Enzo. It was the guy that could never get a win over Neville. And when he first came to WWE, he had an eye injury, so he was on commentary forever. Um,
I'm not sure.
oh my God, how can I
I didn't watch All 205 when it first came out. It took me a little bit. I just watched it. If I heard there was a good match, then I'd go back and watch it. Was pretty much how it was when it first came out.
Yeah. Let me see here. Well, what happened after the match? While you're talking about what happened after the match, I'm gonna look up who I'm talking about.
Was it Austin Aries? Yeah, it was Austin,
Austin Aries.
wasn't
Yeah, Austin Aries. Thank you. That's
Yeah.
that's what I was trying to figure out. Yeah. Um. So
Yeah, and he was on commentary forever before he even started wrestling.
yeah, because he had like some type of eye injury. He couldn't
Yeah,
wrestle. Which he was really good on commentary. He was very
he
good.
was. And
Um.
speaking of that kind of I wanted to bring this up. It hit me during, I think, the Kalisto and English match. Aiden English really does a good job on commentary.
Yeah. I feel bad for Aiden English because I mean I don't know much about the guy. It's not like I follow him or anything like that. But I feel bad about wrestlers that see you have like Corey Graves and Nigel McGuinness who were forced into the commentary role due to injury. Aiden English was perfectly healthy. He's a wrestler. You know what I mean? And it's like WWE said, as a wrestler, you don't do it for us, but we'll let you keep your job, go on commentary, which he's good at. He's great at. I just hope that he's okay with the transition, because if you got to think, man, if he's hungry to be in the match and be, in the spotlight, that's got to be a hard pill to swallow. That
It does. I'm sure it is, but I mean, if you really think about Aiden English, even his Vaudevillains character, I mean, it was his voice that really
yeah,
did it for him, especially for Rusev Day. I mean, I can't think of a real Aiden English match that you're like, dang,
no, just
Uh,
the only match that he was a part of that stands out, unfortunately, is the Vaudevillains versus um, Enzo and Cass, where Enzo got knocked out, getting thrown into the
yeah.
ropes. Yeah,
So Aiden's never really jumped out to me as far as entering. But like I said, it's always been his voice that got him over. If you go back to the Vaudevillains or Rusev Day, I mean, if you put a
yeah,
mic in his hands, and that's what, and he knows the wrestling. I mean, you have these commentators nowadays where they don't know half the moves, and it's just whoa or whatever. But this guy calls the match. He focuses on it. He knows the move. And if you really think about it, 205 really has, I would almost say, the best commentary team for a show. I mean, it's very
them
focused on what's
is
going.
them and NXT, and I boil it down to it's because you don't have Vince in their ear. You have commentators that are allowed to commentate, and because you hear it, I mean, if you want proof, look at Mauro Ranello. Look at how he
Yeah,
was on SmackDown and compare it to him on NXT, and it's night and day. And it's just because on SmackDown he was getting fed lines by Vince McMahon all the time, and then on NXT he's allowed the creative freedom. You know what I mean? And that's really what it is. I think both NXT and 205 Live have the best commentary. I don't know who I'd give the nod to. Um,
I think 205 just because 1 through 3 is better because, I mean, don't get me wrong, Beth is new and she's learning and she's gotten better,
Yeah.
but she's still not. Just, going down the line, I'd give it to 205 just because of that.
You know,
Aiden English is better than Beth.
yeah. You know what it is? You know why it's hard for me to judge? Is because it's what I've always come down to. The commentary booth does not distract me from the action.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I'm watching 205 live and I'm watching NXT, I don't like in a bubble in this moment. I can't think of any commentary that stands out to me, but I can tell you every Raw and SmackDown, there's at some point commentary has distracted me from the match, but
there's no fighting. It's focused on what's going on there.
Exactly. After Carrillo won, he was celebrating. Drew Gulak shows up on the Tron, giving him the old slow clap. He brought up how Carrillo was one of his pupils. So,
by the way, did Drew Gulak train everyone on 205?
Apparently.
It seems like every time there's a match, he's like, "Remember, I trained you, and you can't beat your teacher." I
know, man. Yeah.
Like, this guy's a heel and he hates everybody, but he taught everyone. He's like, "Yeah, come in here."
He trained all his competition. Like, think about it, man. Had he just not trained anybody, there'd be nobody. There'd be no division.
205, nope, be gone.
Yep.
Drew Gulak saved
just be a Drew Gulak show every week.
When Enzo left, 205 would have been gone.
Oh man, I did like the line at the end though. He said he closed with if change is the rule, then I am the law. And I was like, that's badass.
Yeah, I did like it.
Yeah.
Look, Drew Gulak's done a great job. I love him as champion.
Yeah, me too, man. I hope he can make the transition to the main roster smoothly. I really do, man.
I know he's a heel, but he's never backed down from a fight. I mean, he's always dropping these promos, looking to see who his next challenger is.
Yep.
You have these heel champs that just run away from him all the time. But Drew Gulak, he wants it.
I hope
he'll go to NXT to get a match. You see him go after Kushida here recently. I mean, he looks for competition, and I think that's all.
I hope he keeps his edge, and I know this is kind of controversial comparing it, but I can't think of anyone really else I could make the comparison. I hope he ends up like another... God, it's going to sound bad saying, but I hope he ends up like another Chris Benoit, where he is like a small pit bull that his ferocious but his ferociousness, his technical ability, his submissions make him a force to reckon with. That you're right, that he doesn't use any, like, even when he's heel, he's not running from a match. Like, he is ruthless and he is confident, and to the point that size isn't brought up. Because that was one of the things about Benoit, is Benoit was a small competitor, but no one ever looked at him like he was a small competitor because he was vicious in the ring. It was just, he was like a damn pit bull or a Wolverine. He was the rabid Wolverine, and I hope Gulak can kind of get that same aura about him, because we've seen it. I mean, we're going through it on SmackDown with Chad Gable. Chad Gable's a super talented wrestler, and who's great in the ring, but we have to focus on how small he is. And the same thing would happen to the likes of Rey Mysterio, just guys like that. Like, it's like they have a hard time overcoming their size. And I hope that's not the thing for Drew Gulak, because his character work is so well refined and defined. I would hate for his size to be brought up and distract us from just how great he really is, man. That's kind of the way I look at it.
About that, but yeah, looking back, you could definitely make that comparison. Yeah. You're right. By the way, we're talking about size. Is it neat? Like I said, I never watched it week to week when it first came out. But is it Drew Gulak has, it seemed like, transformed his body. Like, wasn't he, like, kind of smallish when he was Enzo's running mate?
To be fair, I've
Or
had
am
a
I?
hard time noticing any changes other than his beard. I'm distracted by how awesome his beard is week in and week out.
I just feel like he's built himself so well. I mean, I might be wrong, just where I never watched week by week. And really, I never remember the good Enzo match or a Gulak match back in those days to go back and watch. But it just seems like he's done very well transforming.
Yeah. No, I hate to say it, but I haven't noticed any body transformation. There was a huge gap for me personally. I watched 205 Live here and there up until like the Enzo stuff, and then I didn't watch it. I just stopped. I stopped and I didn't watch it again until Benji came onto the show, and Benji suggested us covering 205 Live. And at that point, I kind of rediscovered, but I had been away so long, I didn't have a good comparison because Drew Gulak wasn't really on my radar back then, like he is now. Because Gulak, when he first came out, man, he was wearing some like medieval King Arthur getup, and his character wasn't really well defined. He was doing the silly protests and slideshows every week. Although I was a fan of the slideshow stuff, I thought that junk was hilarious. But it also made me never take him seriously.
Yeah.
And then I come back.
Well, you don't have to. He's Enzo's buddy. You
Yeah,
can't.
yeah. Oh my God, if you're Enzo's lackey, yeah, you're doomed. While that's going on. But yeah, man, it was yeah. I guess yeah. So I don't know. It was tough. But boy,
I have
man,
to go back on the network like a year and a half ago and find
right.
Gulak.
We'll get some before and afters, man. Or if any of our listeners want to do that, man, get us a before and after Drew Gulak. Get us some like 205 live footage of him and compare it to him now. Let's see the difference.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but it just seems like, or maybe I just wasn't paying attention to him back in those days. I don't know.
So yeah, let's talk Enzo. Enzo, Jesus, let's not talk Enzo ever. Let's talk NXT. Oh my gosh, man. So NXT, man, in a bubble was amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was filled.
It
Had
was.
an hour in it, and they took advantage of it.
They opened hot and they closed hot, and that is the best way to do it. They had the crowd at a fever pitch when with the Keith Lee and Divakovic Dijakovic match, and then they ended with the Street Profits and Undisputed Era. Oh my God, man! It was. Look at it like this. Like, I could only really hear the audio and look to my phone most times because I had NXT playing literally on my commute home from work. And I was still amped watching it and listening to it and keeping up with the action. And I remember the thing that stands out to me the most is the crowd. That crowd was hot, especially during the Keith Lee and Dijakovic match. Oh my God, man. We're gonna get into it. I can't wait. I can't wait to dive into this because, oh man, NXT is such a beast. I hope when they come to, I mean, I love the concept of AEW. I love the concept of AEW, there being competition, but man, I hope NXT and AEW surpass Raw and SmackDown at this point. I want wrestling to be a great across all boards. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I want Raw and SmackDown to be shit because we have to watch that stuff every week, okay? But man, NXT and I want them to keep that stuff, keep that momentum, man, because they just kill it.
I do. The crowd tonight, man, it was the best. Well, NXT crowd is never bad, but not those women never loved. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen that hot
They
on
were in
and
a
on takeout.
fever pitch.
Yes, they was. And I have a buddy, and I immediately texted after the Dijak and Keith Lee match, told him he to go watch it. I mean, it was. You could argue TV if you consider, the weekly show TV. You
Yeah.
could call it a TV match of the year.
Yeah?
It's fantastic.
Oh my god, man. And it wasn't like long and drawn out. They just knew how to
No,
work their pace. How
yeah,
to
they
work
worked
their
it
pace and
great.
their spots and to create drama. Oh my god. I mean, in the thumbnail alone. So, I mean, I'm using a still in the thumbnail. Did you get a chance to see that too, by the way?
Yeah, you put it in the group chat, didn't
Yeah, I did. I put it in the group chat, man. Um,
you? Yeah, I seen it.
oh man, it's so good. It's so good. One of my favorite guys. One of my favorite guys on Twitter, Mr. Extra. He was there live for this stuff, and boy, I'm jealous. I'm super jealous. But let's get into it, man. Let's get into it. We started off with essentially a squash match. Io Shirai taking on Cammy Fields, I think it is. Um, uh, Fields got very little offense in there, man. Shirai took her out early. She hit her. She got a hit her. She pretty much hit her moonsault. She hit her moonsault at the end. It was just a quick beatdown. And then she locked her up in a submission for a quick tap out. But the story wasn't the match. It was after the match. Candice LeRae coming out, continuing their feud that was totally always meant for Candice LeRae, not for not for oh shit. What's her name? Sky Pirate.
Same.
Yeah, Kairi Sane. Yeah, this was always meant for Candice LeRae, not Kairi Sane. But yeah, Candice LeRae came out. She chased off Io Shirai with a kendo stick, essentially. And so it looks like their feud's going to continue. Then we go into, I mean, if you're going to pick match of the night, I've got this as my match of the night by, like, a thread. But, man, Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic, this is a continuation of a feud that was cut short due to injury on Dominic's end. Man, I don't even. How do you even sum this up? Like, how do you even put this match into words, man?
It was a very hard match. It was a sprint. They never took time off. It had things that the size of these two men shouldn't be able to do.
They hit an avalanche Spanish fly. Remind you, Keith Lee, the man doing the backflip in that Spanish fly, weighs in at I think like 320 pounds. And Dominic is like 6'8". Oh my god, Dominic was doing like corkscrew planches. I don't even think it was even that. I think it was something different over the top rope. At one point, Keith Lee caught Dijakovic doing like a senton off the top rope, caught him standing up in the powerbomb position, lifted him up for a powerbomb, and Dijakovic did a backflip, and he didn't land flush on his feet, but he landed enough on his feet. It was insane, man. This was just this whole match was like summed up by like these guys should not be able to do the stuff that they can do in the ring. Like, big men have never been able to do this before. And every now and then you'll see, like, one big man in a match. He'll do a couple athletic things, and it'll shock you. But it's like you got two of them, and you have two of them doing it simultaneously. They'll do, like, high-flying stuff, and then they'll show off their insane power. And, dude, this is, like, a rivalry that could never get old to me. I swear.
Yeah, they had me second to him when Dijak came out of nowhere with that spinning big boot that landed flush. I mean, it was, and every strike was loud. I mean, it was, I mean, obviously it's a 5-star match, but man,
I don't
it's
know, man.
it's up there.
It's up there for sure. I can't criticize the match. The only thing I
No,
want to
I can't.
criticize is I'm a Keith Lee fan, and Dominic won. But it doesn't matter. That doesn't make a match good or bad if the guy you want to win loses. You know, that's just I'm a fan of him. Dominic at the end, he proved to be the smarter competitor. Keith Lee went to the well too much. He went to the top rope too many times, and Dijakovic hit him with what are they calling it again?
Feast your eyes. You talking about the finish or?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
feast your
feast
eyes.
your eyes. Essentially, it's like a torture rack AA, but he knees Keith Lee in the face on the way down. It's a nasty move, man.
It's like a AA / go to sleep. Just
Yeah,
think,
it combines them. Yeah, dude, in the crowd for this match were fever. I mean, these guys were loud, so
like you
loud.
wanna,
Especially, dude, watch the Spanish Fly. Listen to the
yeah, see
crowd.
that near fall. That near fall.
Yeah, li-
Oh man, that kick out. Oh,
listen to the crowd after Keith Lee hits the avalanche Spanish Fly, and then yeah, it goes for the pin, and Dijakovic kicks out. The crowd at that point are some of the loudest. It's one of the beautiful things about being in a smaller arena is you can just hear people's voices better. Like you can hear the passion. It's almost like a small arena can sound louder than a large arena at times. And I'm not smart enough to articulate that and know the science behind it, but it really feels true. To me, it does. Um,
and not just that, and they brought their past story in there. There was one point where refs were counting when they were on the outside, and Keith Lee pointed to him and was like, "Not today."
yeah.
There was that year in Augie on the apron when Keith Lee picked Jack
Yeah.
up with that
Oh
one
my
arm and
God.
team. I mean, it had everything: power moves,
These guys
athletic,
these guys
striking.
can't face each other too much. They're gonna
No,
shorten each other's careers. These two guys are because they just they're too good. They're too
they
good
had
and
the
too hard hitting.
chemistry that Andrade and Ray have, where
Yeah.
you can watch them every week and not be disappointed because you know it's going to be off the chart.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just two guys with different sizes that shouldn't be able to do what they do.
They should not be able to do what they do. You know what I'd love is to these guys to. I mean, so they're probably going to have a tiebreaker because they had one match already. That was the double count out. Dijakovic has the win tonight. I assume that's going to set him up for a rematch, and Keith Lee will get the win, and then they'll be in a lock, right? As far as WWE history is concerned, I would like.
I don't know, dude.
I don't know.
Kinda, it really depends on how this Roderick Strong thing plays out. If Velveteen retains and we don't get the prophecy filled, I
Yeah,
could see Dijak going for Velveteen.
yeah. Well, what I'm thinking is, I would like these guys to separate and then meet back up on the main roster, on Raw or SmackDown, because then you have so much history because they were facing each other before they were in WWE. They faced each other in the Indies. Now they and had legendary matches. Now they've had legendary matches in NXT, and then I would love to see them have legendary matches on the main roster. Just watch it, kind of like Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. It's like they're destined to fight each other, but I don't want it to be overdone. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
want every time these guys match up for it to be special. And the way you
Yeah.
do that is just spread it out, man. Just spread it out and hopefully they stay healthy. Dominic worries me, man. A guy with that type of body and his type of move set, I would think he's kind of injury prone. I would think so.
Yeah, he already is. He's been hurt a few times.
Yeah. That guy. I don't know. He probably won't have the lengthiest career. Let's put it like that.
He, when you think about that, he's probably better suited for NXT and not have to come up just because as of right
Oh,
now they're
then
not on
how
the road.
often he'll have to work?
Yeah, just not on the road as much with house shows. I mean, they still do house shows, but nowhere near
Well,
the
not only
amount.
that, they
So,
don't use the full NXT roster on the house shows. They use a lot of the people that aren't on TV yet.
yeah,
You know?
so yeah, the workload on the NXT, even with 2 hours, it's still going to be as low. Well, not as low. Still significantly lower than the main roster unless they start the touring and stuff like that.
Right.
But yeah, he's probably better suited for there. And if Triple H, I think Triple H is smart enough to see that. If he don't think anybody's body, not just his, because he's a very talented guy, but I don't think he's going to want anybody to go up if he thinks it's just going to career as far as injuries go.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's a very good way to put it. I can't wait to see what happens next with these guys. I've said it before when me and Benji were doing the show, that I think Keith Lee is the future of Keith Lee's. He strikes me as world champion material. Like, I feel like you could literally get him on the main roster and put one of the main belts on him, WWE Championship or the Universal Championship, and it wouldn't feel out of place. Because the second he touches a mic and the way he looks in the ring, he is a legit champion, man. And
Yeah, he definitely has a bright future.
Yeah,
And just his facial expressions, and I mean, the crowd loves him. I mean, he just fits his character so well.
they can't get that NXT championship on him fast enough in my eyes. He is. I mean, I made no bones about it. He's my favorite wrestler on NXT, absolutely. And I hate to see him. He's losing. He's losing a lot, man, and it kills me. But
He is losing.
yeah, we after the fact we got the career retrospect for Johnny Gargano. Essentially showing Johnny's highlight reel of his career in NXT. It's so heavily implied that he's retiring, but spoiler, Johnny ain't going nowhere. They're taking NXT to the main or to cable television. Gargano's going to be a mainstay on the show. He ain't going nowhere. But during them singing Gargano's praises, I love this. Because I don't even know who he is. I hate it. Mauro Ranello's talking about Gargano's achievements and stuff, and then Shane Thorne just shows up, and he just like, why are we talking about Gargano? It's just like such a jealous chick like move. Like, I don't know why we're talking about him. I'm here. Gargano's not here. And then Mauro just cuts him off. He's like, I'm being told we have to go to commercial. It just cuts it.
It's we're having a technical difficulty.
Yeah. Poor Shane Thorne. Whoever you are, man, I feel for you.
Mauro didn't have time for the bullshit today.
He cut him off. Oh my god! And I hate to say it because I saw Shane a couple of weeks ago, and this really seems to be his gimmick. He's pissed off. Like, why is no one talking about me?
Well, yeah, you haven't watched the last couple of weeks. He has won a couple matches the last couple of weeks.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, he's his thing right now. Well, I don't know if he's going after Gargano now. I guess it's not a thing anymore. But he's actually won both matches. He's beaten some of the guys that came for the break at the tournament.
Yeah.
Bronson Reed and I can't remember the other guy's name. It was the guy. First match, I believe, that faced Danger Garza.
I can't. I probably missed that episode.
But yeah, he beat a couple guys that came for the breakout tournament just to.
Oh, you know what? I do remember that. I do remember that was his thing. No, I know who you're talking about now.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was the same guy. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. He's been kind of like the breakout tournament killer guy.
Yeah.
But just this angle alone was hilarious to me. It really was.
Yeah, it was. Mauro didn't have time for the bullshit. He's like, my mic don't even work no more.
Yeah, I'm told we have to go to a break. Just. Oh man, we cut to last week. Shayna Baszler offered Mia Yim to become part of the Four Horsewomen, which I guess would have made it the Five Horsewomen. Yim turned it down. She got beat down by the whole crew. After the fact, she was essentially begging Regal, who was on a phone on a call, that she needs another shot. And Regal dropped a truth bomb on her. And you know what? I'm a Yim fan. I am a Yim fan. I'm not going to hate on her. But he did drop a truth bomb on her. He was like, you lost. You had your opportunity. And you jumped them. You jumped them prior. What did you expect to happen? You know, this is karma. You know? And I was like, damn, he's right. Yim, you gotta back of the line.
Yeah, I mean, it was a one-on-one match. She lost.
Yeah.
And it's, even in it, which I guess it's, in a way, kind of hard not to do anyway if you think about, small details.
Yeah.
WWE, they sometimes make their faces look like idiots. And that's kind of why.
It's kind of what they did here.
But Regal caught her out on it. She's like, what do you want me to do? You lost.
You lost and you jumped them. Like, I get you're saying they beat you down. You beat them down. You know what I mean? Like, it's bound. This is the wrestling business.
You broke Duke's arm in a locker, so.
I know. Oh, that's one of my favorite clips. That's one of my favorite. We did that as an opening to one of our episodes. I don't know if you heard it, but it's
I was on it. Yeah, I was on it.
Yeah, we did the soundbite, and it was awesome. So
good for Regal. He's like Morrow. He don't have time for the bullshit. So.
No, exactly. It's a 1 hour show, man. You can't have time for that. So Baszler, Marina Shafir, and Jessamine Duke, they head out to the ring. Before Baszler can get on the mic, oh man, we have the debuting Rhea Ripley coming over, former NXT UK Women's Champion, coming over to challenge Baszler. She gets in the ring.
When that music, it should have been more overreacting. Beth Phoenix was like, whoa. Like, it was the softest whoa I've ever heard. I was like, what was that?
I didn't even notice.
It was like, whoa. What the hell was that? Yeah, Morrow should have been the one to...
Just throwing out Mamma Mia's. What is she doing here?
Yeah, instead of, whoa.
Whoa. Yeah. Man, Ripley looks like $1 million. Like, she does. She looks like a damn star, man. It's crazy how cool NXT wrestlers are. Where once people get up to like the main roster, you get this level of polish that you lose like an edge on the main roster. A lot of people do. Not everybody has lost their edge. Obviously, like, you got the Fiend. The Fiend has a fucking edge. But like, you do a lot of these people, like, look at Finn Balor, man, one of the coolest NXT stars ever, man. Comes up to the main roster and he has lost most of his edge. But yeah, a lot of these. One
of the problems with so many hours of TV to fill.
Exactly. No, it's very true.
Like it was announced next week, Velveteen Dream would be facing Kona Reeves, and I was trying to think, man, I can't remember when's the last time Velveteen had an actual weekly TV show. Man.
It's been a minute. I think it was against Robert Strong. I want to say.
Yeah, but I think it was, but it's been
a while.
6 weeks or so.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, it's just.
But
when it goes 2 hours, there's going to be less of that. But
yeah,
that could be a good.
Yeah, I mean they're gonna have a hell of a roster though, because you're not only gonna have NXT's roster, you're gonna have NXT UK people making the jump, and 205 Live on there. This isn't just gonna be the NXT that we know it. There's gonna be
we probably 205. It's not been confirmed that it's getting.
I have a feeling. I have a feeling, but you're right. It's not confirmed.
But yeah, I mean. You got so many pay-per-views too on the main roster, not even just the week. as long as they keep the takeovers down, I could see them adding one more takeover and have 6 a year. I think every 2 months is fine for that.
Yeah, I can
But
see that.
yeah, they don't need to add one. 5 to 6 is perfect, I think.
Me too. Absolutely, me too. Rila makes her, Ripley makes her way into the ring. Baszler grabs the mic. Before Baszler can say anything, Ripley slaps that out of her hand. She says, "I know what you're gonna say." She's like, "You're gonna say you've beaten everyone here, but you haven't beaten me, bitch." Oh man, crowd freaking loses its stuff, chanting Rhea. Baszler and Shafir and Duke, they bail out the ring. We're left with the question: will Baszler answer the call? This obviously is the next feud. Will Ripley be the one to dethrone Baszler? That's really becoming a big question, man, of who's gonna get that belt off her, because
Kyle,
someone has to dethrone her. We can't have Asuka uh, go undefeated and just go to the main roster and Baszler. That's gonna hurt the women's division. Although, really, honestly, will it? Probably not. You'll make that argument at the moment, but
oh, Baszler is. Yeah, I definitely see what you're saying.
I feel like she needs to be beaten though. Someone needs to dethrone her before she goes up. Um,
I don't know if you want it. Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you want it to be Rhea. I guess it just depends on how much you're really going to bring her over from NXT UK. Like,
right.
she's not going to be there a while. I don't know if you want to give the rub to her. I'd rather get somebody that's going to be there. But man, either way, I think this match is perfect. I think Baszler needs an opponent like this because she's running out of opponents to begin with.
Yeah, she has
Uh,
taken out like the whole roster.
yeah, as far as this segment, it was really good. I just wish, and again, it's nothing big. It's little things. I wish they at least waited to Baszler gets out of the ring to start that music. It just looked so staged. As soon as she dropped the bitch, music came on for no
Right.
reason.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that took me out of it a little bit, but that's just me. It notices every little detail like that. It was good. I mean, crowd
Yeah, man.
loved it.
It
It
was
was a good
awesome.
shot surprise, unless that's when we run on the spoilers like I sometimes.
You know what else was awesome? Our main event, the tag team championship match between the Street Profits and Undisputed Era's Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. Boy, this match tore the house down. Oh my gosh. Before we got to the match, we had a sit down interview with Pete Dunne talking about TakeOver. He came up short. But pretty much, if anyone wants to step up, he's going to break their fingers. And then we also got a preview for next week. We got Velveteen Dream versus Kona Reeves, and then like you said, and then also NXT champion Adam Cole is going to be defending it against the NXT Breakout Tournament winner Jordan Miles. Yeah, Jordan.
Yeah,
I'm
I,
sorry, you ain't getting that belt, Jordan. You should have gone
yeah, I brought
after.
up Velveteen. It's probably been longer since Adam Cole's had a match.
Yeah, man. But it's cool. That's good though. That's a good thing, man. I love how NXT does that, where just they have a big roster, and they circulate weeks. Everyone feels fresh. Like it's like you have this reoccurring thing where absence makes the heart grow fonder, but it occurs more often. You have these huge
Yeah,
stars, but you don't get to see them too often, and it makes NXT feel special. It really
it
does, man.
does. I just feel like sometimes you got this filler stuff like a squash match.
Right.
Nothing really, nothing really happens with the people it's getting the squash matches. It's just there, and it don't mean anything in 2 weeks. So I feel like they could afford to take that out a little bit and put, just even a promo, just have a little promo with somebody, one of
Yeah.
your main guys.
But let's get on to this main event, man. How about this tag match? Man,
It was good.
it was good. It was,
Unfortunately, like I said,
boy, it was. This match was hot. And
yeah, like I said, man, I was spoiled on it, and
we
it's hard for me to fully get invested if I know.
yeah. No, that's true.
But
That is you're very true. We almost spoiled it in Raw episode. Thank God that Raw didn't air because I actually spilt the beans that the Street Profits had lost their titles because I thought it happened last week, but it happened tonight. So yeah, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, Street Profits lost their belts to Undisputed Era, but that's to be expected, man. These guys look like they're heading to the main roster. Anyways,
yeah, I think it's a done deal at this point.
yeah. This match was really
But
good, man.
yeah, it was. It wasn't as good as their takeover match, obviously, but yeah, it
No,
was. I mean, very entertaining match.
you had Undisputed Era target Montez Ford's legs, which I thought was very smart. Because it instantly, when you take that tool away from him, like his ability to like just his incredible jumping that he can do, it grounds him, and you do feel like you take away an advantage. And they worked over Montez Ford for the majority of the match. We do get the hot tag eventually to Dawkins. Yeah, it's Dawkins, right? I don't know why I'm blanking for a second there. Um, yeah, and Dawkins comes in. Dude, Dawkins got a hell of a good spear, man. His
He
spear
does.
looks so nasty. And we had some good high spots. It was really a lot of back and forth, near falls. At one point, Dawkins had to do the frog splash because Montez Ford was too injured to. But they could not get the pin. It ultimately came down to Dawkins getting a spear onto, I want to say, Kyle O'Reilly. And then when he goes to spear Bobby Fish, he gets kneed in the face. Montez Ford goes up for the frog splash on the downed Riley, but misses. And then Undisputed Era hits the high-low for the pin on Montez Ford. And your new champions, 75% of the way from all of Undisputed Era being draped in gold, man. Undisputed Era tag champions. You got the NXT champion. Now, will Robert Strong capture that North American championship? What do you think?
I mean, I think they've went too far in it not to do it at this point.
They got to drape them all in gold, right?
Yeah, they teased it for so long, and they're 75% through. Unless, Roderick doesn't do it, and they end up kicking Roderick.
Yeah, they kick him off. They've teased it.
Yeah, it's either he's getting kicked out when he fails to do it, or they're going to do it. Or it's going to be a disappointment if one of those two. I mean, they just teased it so much. Something happened.
Yeah. But, yeah,
we're 8 months into the year, and we've heard it since January. So
yeah, we have, man. They've been talking about it.
one thing I will complain about this match, it was good, but it seems like every single tag championship match we get now, they have this spot where somebody's in a submission or a pin, for that matter, and like it was Bobby Fish had Dawkins in a submission in this one, and Montez runs in the ring, and Kyle gets him in a headlock, and they wait to the 2 count or when he's about to tap or whatever, and they just break it out that way. I think that's getting kind of overdone. It's kind of like the multi-man suplex, powerbomb, whatever.
The Tower of Doom or whatever. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It seems like they're doing this every single tag title match.
Yeah, they have a formula. NXT does have a formula for tag team wrestling. Arguably, I don't even think it's much of an argument. NXT does have the best tag team wrestling under WWE's umbrella to date right now. I haven't noticed that, but then again, I haven't been able to consistently follow NXT the way I want to. I'm hoping I'll be able to going forward. But Yeah, I'll keep that in note, man. I'm just gonna notate that, and then I'll wait for the next big pay per view and to see if we get that again, or the next big tag match rather. See if we get that again. But but yeah, the show went off the air. All four members of Undisputed Era at the top of the ramp, all draped in gold, of course, except Robert Strong, but just looking good and really sending that impression home that man, these guys are gonna own all the belts at some point, with the exception of Shayna's belt. Um, and I'm stoked for it, man. I am stoked for it because it's going to be the highlight. They're going to be the best faction that WWE has for a long time. It's just because the main roster, you're not allowed to have more than 3 members in a faction, you know? And so
Yeah.
Undisputed Era is special for that reason that we actually have something in the WWE umbrella that's got a 4-man faction, and that alone makes them stand out. Not to mention, you have 4 of the best wrestlers and characters in the business, So it's crazy, man. It's crazy, but stoked, man. It was a great show, man. Cap off a great NXT 205 Live again. Oh man, we didn't have any questions for the show for people.
No,
We didn't have a question. We got to come up with a question. Something if people hit us up. Let's see here. Baszler, Ripley. What else has happened? Like, what's a good question? Hmm. I guess, does Roderick Strong get the North American Championship, or does he fail to live up to the Undisputed Era's prophecy? Go ahead and hit us up that in the comments, or hit us up directly on Twitter. Once again, at SmackDrawPod, myself at The Kai Tai Show, Sebastian at WrestlingFan_32. And you guys, like always, man, thank you for joining us. It's always been fun and a pleasure to talk wrestling with you guys. We look forward to it every week. Can't wait to see you guys this weekend because we have AEW's All Out, and is there a takeover this weekend, or yes or no? Like no.
Yeah, takeover for UK.
UK.
Say takeover Cardiff. Yeah, Cardiff.
Cardiff, whatever. We'll talk about it if we're gonna cover it. We'll talk about it.
And Cesaro is apparently going to be.
Cesaro, yeah, is going to be showing up. So we might have another busy week of SmackDraw podcast work here ahead of us. Up in the air whether or not we're going to do AEW. I'm sure we will. It's just a matter of fitting it in our schedule, and because we already do you and I, Sebastian, we do a lot of this now. But we'll talk it over. Maybe we'll get some guests. Maybe we'll work it out. But once
You
again,
talking about the weekly show or the paper?
the pay-per-view, All Out.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, we're definitely doing the weekly.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we have to do All Out. I'm fairly certain, like, we're obligated to as a pro wrestler.